Hello, my friend. Wherever you are right now, whether you're driving through traffic, walking under the open sky, or lying in bed as the world quiets down, I want you to know that I see you. I see the fire in you, that restless ambition that won't let you settle, that voice inside that whispers, "You're meant for more than this." And yet, here's the paradox that brought you to this moment. You're ambitious, deeply ambitious. You have dreams that make your heart race and plans that fill entire notebooks. But somehow, despite all that drive, despite all those late nights and grand visions, the money isn't flowing the way you thought it would. The success feels just out of reach. And you're starting to wonder if maybe, just maybe, something is fundamentally wrong with you. Let me stop you right there. Nothing is wrong with you. But something is wrong with how we've been taught to think about ambition, about success, about the relationship between dreaming big and actually building wealth. And over the next 35 minutes, I'm going to share with you what nobody tells ambitious people. The hidden patterns that keep brilliant, driven souls spinning their wheels. And more importantly, how to break free. This isn't about working harder. God knows you've already tried that. This is about understanding why your ambition might actually be the very thing keeping you broke, and how to transform it into the engine of prosperity it was always meant to be. So take a breath with me. Settle in. Because what I'm about to share changed everything for me, and I believe it can change everything for you too. Let me tell you about the day I realized I was doing it all wrong. I was sitting in my car, staring at my bank account on my phone. Another month, another disappointment. And the thing that killed me? I had worked so hard. So impossibly hard. 70-hour weeks. Multiple projects. Endless hustle. I was the very picture of ambition. Everyone could see how driven I was. How hungry. How determined. And I was broke. Not because I wasn't working. Not because I wasn't dreaming. But because I had fallen into a trap that catches almost every ambitious person at some point in their journey. A trap so subtle, so invisible, that you can spend years inside it without ever knowing you're stuck. Here's what I discovered that day, sitting in that car with the afternoon sun making my phone screen almost impossible to read. Ambition by itself is not enough. In fact, and stay with me here because this is important, unchecked ambition, unfocused ambition, ambition without wisdom, is one of the fastest paths to financial struggle. I know that sounds counterintuitive. We've been told our whole lives that ambition is the key. Dream big. Reach for the stars. Never settle. And all of that is true, but it's incomplete. It's like someone giving you a race car and not mentioning that you need to learn how to drive it first. Ambition is energy. Pure, raw energy. And like all energy, it needs direction. It needs structure. It needs wisdom. Without these things, ambitious people don't rise. They scatter. They burn bright and fast and broke. So let's talk about why this happens. Let's talk about the specific patterns that trap ambitious souls in financial struggle. And then we'll talk about how to fix it. The first pattern, and this one cuts deep, is what I call the shiny object syndrome. You know this feeling, don't you? That electric excitement when you discover a new opportunity, a new business idea, a new path to success. Suddenly, everything clicks. This is it. This is the thing. You can see it all so clearly. The potential, the possibilities, the future you've been dreaming about. So you dive in, full force. You invest time, energy, maybe money. You tell everyone about it. You make plans. You can almost taste the success. And then, 3 weeks later, or 3 months later, you discover another opportunity. Something even better. Even more exciting, even more aligned with your vision. And just like that, the previous thing starts to feel less shiny, less perfect. You start to wonder if maybe you should pivot. Maybe this new thing is actually what you've been searching for. And the cycle continues. Here's what's really happening beneath the surface. Ambitious people have an incredible capacity for vision. You can see potential everywhere. It's a gift, truly. You look at the world and you see 1,000 different ways things could be better, could be different, could be revolutionary. This is the source of your power. But it's also your vulnerability. Because every time you jump to a new opportunity, you reset. You go back to zero. All that momentum you were building, all that expertise you were developing, all those connections you were making, they don't transfer to the new thing. You start fresh. And again. And again. And while you're busy starting over, other people who might be less naturally talented than you, people who might have less ambition than you, they're going deep. They're building mastery. They're creating momentum that compounds. They're becoming known for one thing, becoming excellent at one thing, building wealth from one thing. Not because they're better than you, but because they stayed. I'm not saying you should never pivot. Sometimes a change is exactly what's needed. But ask yourself honestly, how many times have you abandoned something not because it wasn't working, but because something else looked more exciting? How many projects have you left at the 20-yard line when the end zone was just ahead? The fix for this isn't to kill your ambition. It's to channel it. It's to make a commitment, not just to a goal, but to a timeline. To say, I'm going to give this 18 months of focused effort before I even consider something else. To understand that mastery and wealth are built in the staying, not in the starting. Which brings us to the second pattern, and this one is perhaps even more insidious. I call it the complexity addiction. Ambitious people love complexity. We're drawn to it like moths to flame. Simple solutions feel too easy, too obvious, too beneath us. We want the sophisticated strategy, the multi-layered approach, the intricate system that requires a whiteboard and 3 different colored markers to explain. We build elaborate business plans with multiple revenue streams before we've made a single sale. We create complicated morning routines with 17 different steps before we've consistently woken up on time for a week. We design intricate investment strategies before we've saved our first $1,000. And we call this ambition. We call this thinking big. But really, it's something else. It's a way of feeling busy without making progress. It's a way of feeling smart without facing the simple, uncomfortable truth that success often comes from doing boring things consistently, not exciting things sporadically. Think about it. What actually creates wealth? In most cases, it's not the complex, innovative, revolutionary idea. It's the simple thing, done well, done consistently, done for people who need it. It's the plumber who shows up on time and does good work. It's the writer who publishes every week. It's the developer who ships products that solve real problems. Simple, almost boring, and incredibly profitable. But ambitious people resist this. We resist it because simple feels like we're not living up to our potential. Like we're playing small. Like we're settling. So we add layers. We complicate. We strategize ourselves into paralysis. And then we wonder why nothing's moving forward. Here's what I learned, and it hurt my ego to learn it. The question isn't, how can I make this more impressive? The question is, what's the simplest version of this that would actually work? Not the simplest version that makes you feel good about your intelligence. The simplest version that would put money in your bank account. That would solve a real problem for a real person who would pay you real money. Strip away everything else. All the complexity that's making you feel ambitious but keeping you broke. Find the core. The simple, almost embarrassingly simple thing that actually works. And do that. Do it until it's profitable. Then and only then add complexity if needed. Build from a foundation of what works, not from a fantasy of what's impressive. Now, let's go even deeper. Because there's a third pattern, and this one is psychological. This one lives in the stories we tell ourselves about what we deserve. I call it the worthiness gap. Listen carefully to this, because this might be the most important thing I share with you today. Many ambitious people are broke not because they don't know how to make money, but because they don't know how to keep it. Not because they can't create opportunities, but because they sabotage them when they arrive. Not because they're not talented, but because deep down, they don't believe they deserve lasting success. This shows up in subtle ways. You're about to close a big deal, and suddenly you get weird about the pricing. You lower your rate without being asked. You throw in extra services for free. You apologize for charging your worth. Or you land a great opportunity, and then you procrastinate. You miss deadlines. You deliver work that's below your capability. Almost like you're trying to prove to yourself that you don't deserve it. Or maybe you finally start making money, and suddenly you find ways to spend it all. Not on investments or savings, but on things that make you feel successful without actually building your success. The expensive coffee every day. The upgraded apartment you don't really need yet. The clothes that signal status you haven't actually achieved. This is the worthiness gap. The space between the success you say you want and the success you subconsciously believe you deserve. And here's the brutal truth: ambition cannot bridge that gap. You can be the most driven person in the world, but if you don't believe you're worthy of wealth, you will find a way to stay broke. Your subconscious is more powerful than your ambition. Every single time. So how do we fix this? How do we close the worthiness gap? It starts with honesty. Radical honesty. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. Do I actually believe I deserve to be wealthy? Not, do I want to be wealthy, but do I believe in my bones that wealth is something I'm allowed to have? That success is something that belongs to me, not just to other people? If the answer is no, or even if you're not sure, that's okay. That's actually perfect. Because now you know what you're working with. Now you can start the real work. And the real work is not about affirmations or positive thinking, although those can help. The real work is about evidence. You need to start proving to yourself, through small actions and small wins, that you are worthy, that you can handle success, that you can be trusted with it. Start small. If you've never saved money consistently, start by saving $10 a week. Not to build wealth, but to prove to yourself that you can do it, that you're the kind of person who saves. If you've never completed a project, complete a tiny one. Not to make money, but to prove to yourself that you're the kind of person who finishes things. Each small proof builds the foundation. Each completed promise to yourself closes the worthiness gap just a little bit more. Until one day, you wake up and you genuinely believe that you deserve the success you're working toward. And when that happens, when your ambition is matched by your sense of worthiness, that's when everything changes. But there's another layer to this. Another pattern that keeps ambitious people trapped. And this one is about how we think about time itself. Most ambitious people I know, including my former self, operate with what I call the all-or-nothing timeline. We want it all, and we want it now. Not next year. Not in 5 years. This month. This quarter. We see someone else's success and we think, I should be there already. We set massive goals with unrealistic timelines, and when we inevitably fall short, we don't adjust, we abandon. We treat our journey like a sprint when it's actually a marathon. Or more accurately, it's not even a marathon. It's a life. It's a direction, not a destination. And this impatience, this compressed timeline, it makes us broke in several ways. First, it makes us desperate. When you need success right now, you make short-term decisions that sabotage long-term growth. You take the quick money instead of building the sustainable system. You chase the immediate win instead of planting seeds that will bear fruit for years. You undercharge because you need the money today, and in doing so, you train the market to undervalue you. Second, it makes us quit too soon. You launch something, and it doesn't explode immediately, so you assume it's not working. You don't give it time to breathe, to grow, to find its audience. You don't understand that most overnight successes took years of invisible work to create. Third, it robs us of the power of compound growth, both in skills and in wealth. You want to jump from zero to millionaire, but you're unwilling to go from zero to making your first 1,000, then your first 10,000, then your first 100,000. Each stage building on the last. Each stage teaching you what you need to know for the next one. Warren Buffett didn't become Warren Buffett overnight. He started investing when he was 11 years old. 11. And he's still going in his 90s. That's not a timeline. Now, let's talk about the fifth pattern. And this one might be the most painful because it involves other people. It's what I call the energy vampire problem. Ambitious people attract people. That's just how it works. Your energy, your vision, your drive, it draws others toward you. Some of these people are genuinely supportive. They want to see you win. They'll celebrate your successes and encourage you through your struggles. But others are different. They're drawn to your light not to share it, but to dim it. They want to be close to your ambition without having any of their own. They want to borrow your energy, your ideas, your resources, your time, and they'll drain you dry if you let them. These are the friends who always have a crisis right when you're about to work on something important. The family members who criticize your dreams while asking you for money. The romantic partners who claim to support you but somehow always need your attention exactly when you're making progress. The business contacts who pick your brain for hours but never hire you. And because you're ambitious and generous and you believe in helping people, you give. And give. And give. Until you look around one day and realize you've been so busy supporting everyone else's life that you haven't built your own. This is subtle betrayal we commit against ourselves. We confuse being kind with being available to everyone. We confuse being helpful with being used. We confuse being connected with being drained. And it keeps us broke. Because every hour you spend managing someone else's drama is an hour you're not spending building your dream. Every dollar you lend to someone who never pays you back is a dollar that can't grow your business. Every ounce of emotional energy you spend on people who don't reciprocate is energy you can't pour into yourself. I'm not saying become cold or selfish. I'm saying become boundaried. I'm saying protect your energy like it's the most valuable resource you have, because it is. I'm saying learn to distinguish between people who need your help and people who need your help to avoid helping themselves. Here's a simple test. When you think about a specific person in your life, do you feel energized or drained? Do they add to your life or subtract from it? Do they celebrate your wins or subtly compete with them? Do they respect your time or assume they can interrupt it whenever they want? Be honest. Brutally honest. Because the ambitious life you want to build requires energy. Lots of it. And you cannot afford to let it leak out to people who don't deserve it. Set boundaries. Clear ones. Kind ones, but firm ones. Limit your time with the energy vampires. Stop lending money you can't afford to lose. Stop giving free advice to people who don't value it. Stop putting everyone else's needs before your own to the point where your own dreams die from neglect. This isn't selfish. This is survival. This is how you protect your ambition long enough for it to actually create the life you want. And speaking of protection, there's one more pattern we need to address. The final piece of the puzzle. And this one is perhaps the most fundamental of all. It's what I call the action deficit. You see, ambitious people are incredible at one thing. Planning, visioning, strategizing. We can spend hours, days, weeks, lost in the beautiful world of what could be. We create vision boards and business plans and detailed spreadsheets. We research and learn and absorb information like sponges. And all of this feels productive. It feels like we're making progress. It feels like we're being ambitious. But here's the question that changes everything. Are you planning or are you doing? Because there's a huge difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Between understanding the path and walking it. Between having great ideas and executing on them. I see this all the time. Ambitious people with incredible knowledge who are broke because they never implemented a single thing they learned. People who've read 100 books about business but never started one. People who know exactly how to build wealth but haven't saved their first dollar. People who can talk eloquently about success but haven't completed a single project. We call this learning. We call this preparation. We call this being thorough. But really it's fear. It's procrastination dressed up as productivity. It's a way to feel ambitious without facing the risk of actually trying and possibly failing. The truth is this. Action is where ambition becomes real. Not perfect action. Not flawless action. Just action. Messy, imperfect, learn-as-you-go action. Because it's only through action that you discover what actually works. It's only through action that you build momentum. It's only through action that you make money. You can't think your way to wealth. You can't plan your way to success. At some point, you have to close the laptop, stop researching, stop preparing, stop waiting for perfect conditions, and do something. Anything. Just start. And here's what happens when you do. You learn faster in one day of action than in a month of planning. You discover problems you never would have anticipated and solutions you never would have thought of. You build confidence. You create evidence. You start moving. And movement attracts opportunity. Every single time. While you're sitting still, planning and preparing, opportunities pass you by. They go to people who are already in motion. Because opportunities don't come to the person with the best plan. They come to the person who's already moving. So if you take nothing else from our time together today, take this. Tomorrow, do one thing. Not a perfect thing. Not a huge thing. Just one real action toward your ambition. Send that email. Make that call. Publish that post. Launch that simple version. Take one real step. And then the next day, do it again. And again. And again. Until action becomes your natural state. Until doing becomes more comfortable than planning. Until you're known not just as someone with big dreams, but as someone who makes things happen. Because that's the secret, my friend. That's what separates the ambitious people who stay broke from the ambitious people who build empires. It's not intelligence. It's not education. It's not even talent. It's the willingness to act before you feel ready. To start before you feel prepared. To move before you have all the answers. Now, let's bring this all together. Let's talk about what changes when you address these patterns. When you focus instead of scatter. When you simplify instead of complicate. When you believe you're worthy. When you expand your timeline. When you protect your energy. When you prioritize action over planning. What changes is everything. You stop feeling like you're swimming upstream. You stop wondering why success hasn't found you yet. You stop comparing yourself to everyone else and start focusing on your own unique path. You stop being broke not because money suddenly appears, but because you've become the kind of person who creates it, who attracts it, who keeps it, who grows it. Your ambition stops being a source of frustration and becomes a source of power. Because now it has direction. Now it has discipline. Now it has wisdom. And ambitious energy combined with wisdom? That's unstoppable. That's how empires are built. That's how lives are transformed. I think about that day in my car a lot. That moment when I realized something had to change. And what I know now, sitting here talking to you, is that the problem was never my ambition. The problem was that I was trying to build a fortune with patterns designed to keep me broke. I was working hard in all the wrong ways. I was being busy without being effective. I was dreaming without doing. And the moment I shifted these patterns, everything shifted. Not overnight. Not magically. But steadily. Powerfully. Irreversibly. The first real money I made came from focusing on one simple thing instead of 10 complex things. The first real momentum I built came from giving myself permission to take 5 years instead of demanding results in 5 months. The first real breakthrough came when I stopped giving my energy to everyone who asked and started protecting it for the work that mattered. It wasn't easy. Some of these changes hurt. Some of them cost me relationships with people who liked me better when I was distracted and broke. Some of them required me to face uncomfortable truths about myself and my patterns. But every shift was worth it. Every single one. And now, here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to wait as long as I did. You don't have to learn these lessons the hard way. You can choose, right now, to implement even one of these shifts. Just one. Choose to focus. Pick one thing and commit to it for 6 months. No wavering. No new shiny objects. Just depth instead of breadth. Or choose to simplify. Take your most complicated plan and ask, what's the simplest version of this that would actually work? Then do that version. Or choose to work on worthiness. Start proving to yourself, through small consistent actions, that you can be trusted with success. Or choose to expand your timeline. Give yourself permission to build something over years instead of months. Or choose to protect your energy. Set one boundary with one energy vampire. Just one. Or choose to act. Tomorrow, take one real step toward your ambition. No more planning. Just doing. Just one shift. That's all you need to start. Because one shift creates momentum. And momentum creates more shifts. And before you know it, you're not just ambitious anymore. You're ambitious and effective. You're ambitious and wise. You're ambitious and successful. You're still you. Still driven. Still hungry. Still full of dreams. But now your ambition is working for you instead of against you. Now your energy is focused instead of scattered. Now your actions are building wealth instead of just building exhaustion. This is what I want for you. This is why I'm here, sharing these truths that took me so long to learn. Because I know what it feels like to be ambitious and broke. I know the confusion of working so hard and having so little to show for it. I know the shame of feeling like you should be further along by now. And I also know what it feels like on the other side. When the money starts flowing because you've finally aligned your ambition with wisdom. When opportunities find you because you're focused and consistent. When you look at your bank account and feel pride instead of disappointment. When you realize that your ambition wasn't the problem, it was just waiting for you to learn how to channel it properly. That's available to you. Right now. Today. This moment. You don't need more ambition. You have plenty. You don't need more dreams. You're full of them. What you need is what we've talked about today. Focus. Simplicity. Worthiness. Patience. Boundaries. Action. These are the tools that transform ambition from a beautiful curse into a powerful blessing. So here's my invitation to you as we close our time together. Take what resonated. Take what felt true. Take what made you uncomfortable, because discomfort usually means you're onto something important. And do something with it. Don't just let this be another thing you consumed and moved on from. Let this be the moment where something shifted. Where you decided that being ambitious and broke wasn't going to be your story anymore. You get to write a different story. One where your ambition creates the life you want instead of the frustration you've been living. One where you're not just dreaming big but building big. One where 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you look back at this moment and think, that's when everything changed. Not because I gave you some magic formula, but because you were finally ready to use your ambition the right way. To channel it. To focus it. To let it build something real. The world needs your ambition, my friend. It needs your vision and your energy and your drive. But it needs the version of you who's learned these lessons. Who's closed these gaps. Who's made these shifts. That version of you doesn't just dream about changing the world. They actually do it. And they build wealth in the process. Not because they're lucky. Not because they're special. But because they learned how to use their ambition wisely. That person is already in you. They've been there all along. They've just been waiting for you to clear away the patterns that were hiding them. The scattering. The complexity. The unworthiness. The impatience. The energy leaks. The action deficit. All of these things were just layers covering up who you really are and what you're really capable of. And now you know what those layers are. Now you can peel them away, one by one, until what's left is pure, focused, powerful, channeled ambition. The kind that builds empires. The kind that creates lasting wealth. The kind that transforms not just your bank account but your entire life. So go. Take this with you. Carry it into tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. Let it change how you think about your ambition. Let it change how you use your time. Let it change how you protect your energy. Let it change what you believe you deserve. Let it change everything that needs to change. And know this. I believe in you. I believe in your ambition. I believe in your capacity to build the life you want. Not because I think you're perfect or because I think it'll be easy, but because I've seen what's possible when ambitious people finally learn these lessons. When they stop fighting themselves and start working with themselves. When they stop being their own obstacle and start being their own greatest asset. That's your path forward. That's your way from broke to wealthy. From scattered to focused. From exhausted to energized. From frustrated to fulfilled. It's all right there, waiting for you to claim it. So claim it, my friend. You've been ambitious long enough. Now it's time to be wise. And when you combine those two things, when you marry ambition with wisdom, drive with discipline, dreams with action, there's nothing you can't build. Nothing you can't create. Nothing you can't achieve. The only question left is, will you? I think you will. I think you already are. And I can't wait to see what you build. Go well, my friend. Go wisely. And go build the life your ambition was always meant to create.